I'm going to install this locker on the wall here above the passenger seat. Before I do that, I need to make sure that the overcab locker and the B-pillars are firmly in the correct position. It can currently move up and down a little bit, and there's a little gap along the ceiling. So I'll use this prop. I'll just push up, not applying too much pressure, just to close the gap. I then need to trim the plastics to bring this trim level with the edge of the existing VW trim, and then we'll bolt it in place, and this will help hold this locker in position. Looking at the back of this B-pillar trim cover, on the CNC I've routed a slot down the back. If you look at the VW trim, we need to cut away a bit of this plastic here, and then that'll allow the trim to slot in. We need to close this gap, and the intention is to bring this trim close against here so it looks flush and gives a nice clean finish. I've used a steel ruler and a pencil just to mark on where I need to trim off. I need to save a little bit at the bottom there. I'll now use a multi-tool to gradually cut that away. I haven't needed to cut that much away, so it's roughly just under 1 centimetre at the widest point that I've chopped off, and I've chopped a little notch there. And if you look in here as well, I've had to just chop away these brackets to allow the recess on the trim to push over the plastic here. And round here as well. So when I screw the trim on, it's wanting to pull over there and give a nice neat edge. So when you sat on the driver's seat with it swiveled, it looks nice and neat like that. On the B-pillar there are 4 or 5 screw holes that are approximately 30 centimetres apart from each other. So I've got one here. These were used to attach the bulkhead. What I do is I screw in some sharpened M6 bolts. I then get the B-pillar trim and push it on exactly where I want it, and then I will get a mark on the back of the board that I can drill out to then use a fixing from the other side to screw the trim in place. I've used M6 joint connectors to attach the trim. Here at the top, you could probably do with a bit more cutting off here to pull it in a bit further. But from the other side, gives a nice, neat finish. It's now just a case of repeating for the other side. this side we've got the handle. We can take that off and we can use the holes for the handle to attach the B-pillar cover, and we can respray this handle and then attach it using the joint connectors to screw the B-pillar cover on and also support the handle. That's the other side now complete. Side's fitting much better, so I definitely need to trim the driver's side down a little bit. I'm starting to fit the main lockers in the van now. So this is the over passenger seating area locker. What I've done is use the prop to hold the locker in place. I've screwed some 4x30mm screws, one here, one here. I placed some 5mm plywood behind, just so the gap above doesn't close up too much. I've screwed up through there. I've also screwed with some 4x30 screws in here from the cab locker to hold it on the side. I've also used some modesty blocks on the back edge, which is screwed into the plywood on the wall. We're going to have a shower cubicle here, so when I place the side of the shower cubicle here, I'll then also screw in from the inside of the shower cubicle. So that will be supported along the top and both sides, so that should be quite secure. When you hold the locker in position, you want to look at this edge, make sure it's nice and level. Line it up with the aluminium. It's roughly taken me about 10 to 15 minutes to fit that locker. The shower side should now just slot into position. Depending on the thickness of the roof, you may need to trim a bit off the bottom of the shower board. The shower side's now cut and in position. When I pushed this in position, there was a good chance it was going to cut into the suede at the top, so I sanded the edge down both sides to allow it to not catch into the suede at the top. Same here as well, sanded. It just allows it to slide across the top without digging into the suede. To attach the two shower sides together, at the back we've got different cross pieces. So this is to go along the bottom. We screw cam dowels into the sides, and then we've also got some wooden dowels on the side here. I'm going to have to chop a piece off the bottom because I've had to lower the shower. So we can put some glue in holes and then tighten up the cam dowels to pull it in. So we start at the bottom, and then there's another one there. So we've got some here along the back of the shower. We've got some 6mm holes and some 5mm holes. The wooden dowels go into the 6mm holes, and the metal cam dowels screw into the 5mm holes. We've also got some additional cross pieces as well. These just have one wooden dowel in, so we glue that in and then use some screws just to pull it into position. At the bottom, I've placed the cross piece in and I've pushed it from behind the board there, and I will screw that cam dowel in. And then I've got another one with the pocket holes, another one with a cam dowel. Attach it here, here, and then I'll gradually pull in the right hand side as we get closer to the top. It's an advantage if you get two people, one person putting a bit of pressure on the back from the other side of the board. So, because these keep dropping out as you do it, it can be a bit frustrating. Work all the way up till they're all clipped in position. And then you can choose to bit of extra strength. So we've got PVC that goes in here. You could put a thin piece of plyboard on the front there, so when you in here you're not going to push the PVC in. I've put an additional cross pieces here where it curves, and then this bit here, the plastic curves right in. All the cross pieces are now screwed in position along the back. Along the bottom we've got 4 pieces of wood here that form a support for the edge of the shower tray. So the shower tray will lift in position. What we need to do is use a multi-tool to cut down these 2 edges. Just needs a little bit of trimming down, and then it should just lift into place. We also need to drill a hole in the floor as well for the waste to go through. Now's a good time to drill and fit the waste hole here. The waste hole is a lot bigger than the circumference that you can see on top, so we need to drill out a large section, so you'll need a large hole saw to open the hole up and allow the waste to sink into the floor. When we push the door front onto the shower enclosure, it will move the wood away from the shower base. Like that, that's the profile. That's fine because it's only moved it a couple of mil, and we will be filling that with sealant. And at the top of the shower cubicle, the front cross piece, it'd be a good idea to cut a little notch out, so when you slide the profile on, it actually fits in. You can tell the shower cubicle is square by looking at the edge here. There'd be a large gap at one side if it wasn't square. The shower tray as well, there's a little gap at the bottom, so to stop this cracking over time, it'd be a good idea to cut a piece of plywood and spray adhesive this plywood under there before we fix it down.